I already foresee this being probably 2 or 3 weeks worth of lessons. So I'm going to do the best I can to get where I'm trying to get tonight. And wherever I don't get tonight, I'll pick up next week if the Lord says the same. Now, we have been, with the exception of last week when we dealt with being found faithful, for the last, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months, we have been walking through dispensations and covenants relative to the construct of the Bible. All right? So the Bible is broken down into 7 major dispensations. All right? 7 major dispensations. Each dispensation has a corresponding covenant. All right? So that we don't lose the fact that we use the word dispensation. Dispensation was simply the characteristic of the covenant. All right? The characteristic of the covenant. God would make a covenant with a man, and there would be a characteristic that would govern that particular covenant. Now, we know that when we started, the first thing we talked about was the Edenic covenant. The covenant God made in Eden, the Edenic covenant, which brought about the dispensation of innocence. This is where Adam and Eve were in a state of peace. They were in the presence of God. They were feeling good. It was innocence that was leading them. We dealt with some things on that. As we transitioned from innocence in the Edenic covenant, we went along to the Adamic covenant, which was the covenant God made directly with Adam. This covenant brought about what dispensation? Conscience. Excellent. This covenant brought about the dispensation of conscience, meaning we are now aware of the sin that we do. We are aware of both good and evil. We dealt with some things relative to that. The next covenant we dealt with was the Noahic covenant, which was the covenant God made with Noah. The dispensation brought about what?
Human government.
Human government. Excellent. So we identified that it was through Noah that God made a covenant that human government would be established. This government would be that which would rule in the earth. The idea was that in human government, we were supposed to really be looking out for each other, and we're supposed to be honoring our authority. Those are the things that we were really dealing with on human government. Now, as we shift tonight, we're dealing and transitioning over to the 4th covenant, which is the Abrahamic covenant. This is the covenant God made with Abraham. This is where we are tonight. That dispensation, does anybody know? Promise. Excellent. This is where we are tonight. In the 4th covenant, the dispensation of promise. All right. God spoke to Abraham and said, I'm going to choose you out of a long lineage of people. When we were talking about human government on last couple of weeks, again, with the exception of last week, we were talking about how God would even allow there to be an anointed divider. That God would raise up somebody to make sure that sides would be chosen. Those that are on God's side and those that are not on God's side. There would be an identifiable person. This person, I told you, was Peleg, P-E-L-E-G, is a man that was anointed to raise up a measure of rebellion. He was one of the chief leaders during the time of the Tower of Babel being constructed, where in fact God allowed him to be raised up as a type of an anointed divider. It was through his lineage, the lineage of this particular man that we find there was a man by the name of Abram who was birthed into the world. All right? Abram, having been connected with his native land, having been part of the country there, God now is calling for him to leave everything that he knows and to come to a place that God will show him. All right, before I get into reading Genesis chapter 12 tonight, I think it's interesting, or I think it's necessary for me to give this information to you relative to this ministry. All right, it was this passage of scripture. We talked with Sunday school. That's why it's so great to be in Sunday school. We talked about how in Genesis 28:17, God told Jacob that this was going to be a pillar. This was Bethel. It was called the house of God. It was a gateway of heaven. That's where we got all of our signage from and all the logos. But the actual spoken word, Brother Foster, to how I knew it was Concord, North Carolina, that we were supposed to come to. Not only had I received prophetic word through visions, dreams of my spiritual leader, hearing the voice of God, seeing his presence, but it was in this word, Genesis, the 12th chapter, that God spoke directly to your pastor about Concord, North Carolina. Well, Pastor, how did that happen? Thank you for asking me. All right. So in April of 2014, all right, we had a table, we had a getaway, Brother Foster, with the spiritual leaders of Gethsemane. I was an elder, my wife and I sitting at the table. The meeting goes on that Thursday. Apostle looks at the leaders at the table. He says, well, I just want to announce to everybody that Pastor Hinton is getting ready to start a church outside of the state of Virginia. And so they start looking at me, Sister Lipscomb, and say, well, Pastor, Elder, why you ain't tell me you were going to do that? I said, because I just found out like you did. I ain't have a clue that we was supposed to come to North Carolina. And so we was supposed to come out of the state. So he said, I don't know where it is. I just know it's not in Virginia. I said, okay, so we go back to the room. First Lady and I, we kind of in shock. We like, well, Lord, okay, you're going to do it. You're going to speak. So I began to pray, talk to the Lord, Sister Foster. And the Lord told me, he said, son, I want you to go read Genesis chapter 12. So I go. We were at the Hyatt House hotel in Western Raleigh. And I went in the bathroom, took the Bible with me, began to read Genesis chapter 12. And I said, okay, God, I hear you. Okay, we're going to read some of that tonight. It's okay, God, I hear you, but I still ain't necessarily clicking. I don't see North Carolina in this particular text. I don't see the word North Carolina. I don't see any states in this text. I don't know exactly why you want me to go here. And the Lord began to just deal with me. And the way God talks to Pastor Hinton, he may not talk to everybody the same way, but the Lord said, son, what's the 12th state? And I'm like, well, Lord, I don't know what the 12th state is. So I go to our trusty friend Google, and I find that North Carolina was the 12th state of the Union. I said, oh, okay. All right. I said, well, North Carolina, okay, God, that's good. All right. North Carolina, that's great. North Carolina's a big place. Lord, so what about North Carolina? He said, what's the 12th largest city in North Carolina? God, I have no idea. I go, I do the research, and little do I know, Concord, North Carolina is the 12th largest city in the state of North Carolina.
That's amazing.
Look it up. Really? So I said, well, God, Concord, well, okay. So I still I ain't really embrace him all the way, Sister Coop. I said, okay, that all that sounds good. So we riding back. I'm driving Apostle, First Lady, and my wife back to Virginia from the retreat. And Apostle in the car said, Brother Graham, First Lady, what you think about going to Charlotte next year for the Gethsemane getaway? And so she says, well, Reverend, I don't know. I was thinking about going somewhere that's north of Charlotte or a little west from where we are right now. So I'm listening to all this in my mind. And I said, God, are you trying to tell me something in what I'm hearing? So I go home, Brooke Kanye, and I pull the map out. First of all, I didn't know Concord really was a city until I had just read that it was the 12th largest city. That was the first time I really knew it was a city. I go home, I get the map, Mr. Black. Yes, I look, and I see on the map that Concord is north of Charlotte and west of Raleigh. I said, Lord have mercy. I guess I got to go to Concord. Then God began to bring back word that came to me back from 2005 about how our relationship, his relationship and I heard the word of the Lord that said that God said that our relationship was like a concert. So he told me to define the word. I defined the word, Brother Greaves, and one of the defining words to the word concert is concord. I said, okay, all right, okay, I hear you, Lord. I don't know what else I need. Then Apostle, I go to church the next day. That Sunday, and this gentleman, the guy that came to us a couple of weeks ago, he somehow came to the service in Virginia the Sunday after we had gotten back from this little meeting we were at when the Lord was speaking Concord to me. So I go to Apostle after church. I said, Apostle, I believe the Lord sending me to Concord, North Carolina. He said, son, that sounds real good. He said, you ain't gonna believe this. The guy that was here today, guess where he lived? He lives in Concord. He said, this is the first time he ever been to my church in his life. He said, I've known this guy for 30 years. And today, he came to the church. And that was the only time he came. I said, okay, Lord, I got it. I got it. So Genesis chapter 12. So let's say Genesis chapter 12 holds a special place in Pastor Hinton's heart. So I can probably teach from this probably like every time and really be okay. Because if I don't know no other scripture in the Bible, I know Genesis chapter 12.
Yes, sir.
That's one that I know of a surety. Thank you, Jesus. All right, so Genesis chapter 12, God is getting ready to bless Abraham. Abram, as his name is at the time. And in these first 9 verses, we're going to identify this covenant that God made to Abraham, which brought about the dispensation of promise. Genesis chapter 12, verse number 1, the word of the Lord says, "Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee.
Wow.
And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed, as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai, later became known as Sarah, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, his nephew, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the plain of Moriah. And the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. Verse 8, and he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel. Look at that. And pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. Stopping at verse number 9. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. Now, I'm going to do my best tonight, Minister Black, to really teach. I felt preaching when I was reading this, but I said, Lord, I'm going to be disciplined tonight, and I'm going to just teach. All right, so what we identify in understanding the promise. Again, the Abrahamic covenant, Rochelle, what we're dealing with tonight. What about the dispensation of promise? The title we're using tonight is Understanding the Promise. So what I want us to grasp out of this is this. When God made this covenant with Abram, Brother Foster, it is very interesting in the command that God gave him. Now, I want us to catch this, and I'm going to try to keep my composure tonight. When we look at it, I want y'all to, because that'll help me not preach. When you look at verse number 1, somebody tell me what God asked Abraham to do. He told him to go. Leave everything. Get out of the country.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, when everything else we read in these first 9 verses, Brother Bartnight, we identify that there was no other responsibility given to Abram. The only thing he had to do was go. Okay, now I want us to catch this. When God, Brother Foster, makes you a promise, you don't have to do anything but go. I want y'all to catch it now. The promise deed was heavy. It was loaded with a lot of stuff. But there was only one responsibility.
Yes.
And that was to go.
Yes, sir.
So I want to come pick us up, Brother Brevis, a little bit tonight to get us to understand that when God, Rochelle, has made promise to you, he doesn't ask us to figure it out or figure him out. All he says, Brother Green, is to go. Now, the difficult thing is, this is where our spirituality, Brother Foster, gets us in trouble. Because we're so smart, and because all of the other dispensations that we came out of still play effect in what we're looking at tonight, our conscience is the thing that messes us up from going. Our thoughts, this in our mind, stops us from being obedient to all God asks us to do.
Yes.
So, Cheryl, he didn't ask us to map out the plan. He didn't ask us to, recreate a wheel. He didn't ask us to, to do all this. He says, I just want you to go. This is where your safety is. I want y'all to catch this tonight. Even if you go in the wrong direction, he got you because you went.
You went. That's good.
I don't think we caught it.
That's good.
So when I'm trying to minister to a person, Sister Koo, and God lets me say to them, it don't matter what you do, you can't make the wrong choice. What does that mean? Because all I'm looking for is your obedience to go.
Yes.
When God told us to go, Minister Black,
yes, sir.
I had a laundry list worth of reasons why I shouldn't go.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to take money and all that off the table, which you need to live. I'm like, God, I got a whole house. Yeah. I'm talking about a whole mortgage I got to pay. And I don't have nowhere to live down there. You know what God told me? I just told you to go. I ain't asked you about your house. I ain't asked you about the job you leaving. I ain't asked you about the members that you don't have. I ain't asked you about how you was going to make it. Only thing I told you to do was go. So what did I do, Brother Concord? I got like Abram. I said, well, God, if that's how we rolling, I'm out. I'm gone. And I went, Brother Foster, still got the mortgage, still didn't have a job, still didn't have no members, still didn't have nowhere to live. But I was on my way. Check this out, Sister Bartnight. We came down here without even having a key to get in the house we were supposed to get in. Am I lying, Black?
Absolutely true.
Didn't even have a key.
No key.
So I'm like, well, God, if I got to sleep in my car for 2 or 3 days, we just gonna make it work. The people say, well, Mr. Hinton, I'm sorry. We can let you in on Monday, but I can't get you no key on Saturday. I said, but the Lord told me get there on Saturday. So I'm going to get there when God tells me to. So if I got to camp out in the parking lot or in the driveway or somewhere, that's just what I got to do.
Yes, sir.
Well, Pastor, that's mighty, that's kind of crazy. Well, you can say what you want to say. It's faith. God told me to go. He ain't say wait until it got comfortable. He ain't say wait until you meet the Fosters, the Thompsons, the Shells, the Bartnights, the Lipscombs, the Conyers. He ain't say wait till you meet them to start the work. He said go.
Go.
Well, God, can I have a couple of interest meetings first or something? Drum up some inquiry about who might want to be a part of the vision. He said, I didn't ask you to do that. I asked you to go. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to build our faith up tonight to understand that God don't really care about our issue. He just wants us to go. He got it. Professor, you got it. He's got it. Check this out. Now, this is a scripture that, I don't think it got taken out of the Bible. I think it's still in there. In Psalm 50, verse 10, it says that every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. Now, if I think if somebody go look, make sure they can take it out while I was asleep last night. Somebody go find Psalm 50, verse 10. Just want to make sure it's still in the book, that it didn't get robbed in my sleep last night. Psalm 50 and 10. I just want to make sure it's still there, because if it's not, I need to close the Bible and go home. Psalm 50, verse 10.
That's it, sir.
Yeah, read it though, Black, just to make sure.
Yeah, it says, for every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills.
So God says, Brashelle, he got more than what you can ever get.
Help us, God.
So if I got it, and I tell you to go, don't you think I can make provision show up even when you thought it couldn't?
Yeah. Show up.
But it's only going to happen when you go. Y'all hear your pastor say this a lot, and it's comical, and I like saying it because it's funny, but I mean it. I tell people all the time, especially when I'm tired of talking to them, God bless you as you go. Yeah. He asking me a million questions. Well, let the Lord bless you as you go.
Yeah.
But you got to go to get the blessing.
Yeah, you got to go.
I want us to catch it. It's funny, but I mean it. Let him bless you as you go. Because Sister Jordan, he ain't going to bless you as you stay.
No.
That's good, sir.
True.
Pastor, I thought you were spiritual. I am. I thought you was my connection to God. Well, and agree, I am. But the way to get the fullness of God is you got to go. What that mean? Don't keep asking a million questions. Just go. Well, Lord, am I going to be able to afford it? What did he say? Go? Okay. Well, I'm going to go. Bro Foster, I'm going to talk to you then. Now, remember, I started the night, brush here. I wish you would have been here. I know you got stuff going on. But I started off the night talking about credit. And I meant it too. And we're going to have some more teaching on that in days to come. So, because I got this financial mind, Sister Foster, your pastor at this juncture of his life is in a mental tug of war. I said, God, I know. Now, this is how you can talk to him when you got a relationship with him. I said, God, I know you promised me my Escalade for my 35th birthday. I talked to him. I said, I know you promised it to me. This ain't something I dreamt up one day.
Yes, sir.
I don't even give y'all the fullness of what's supposed to happen by the time I'm 35. I'll just let you see it. But the reality is, I said, God, now, I'm looking, and I'm like, well, it can work, but I need to see something else, before I just let it work. Because the wisdom, the financial mind starts ticking up.
Yeah.
And when I was studying and reading this today, you know what the Lord told me? Go. You got it.
Clear. It was clear.
He said, didn't I tell you what I promised you? So if I promised it to you, he said, now this is how God told me. If a man promised it to you, I don't blame you for calculating and putting it together and making sure why. All I'm looking for is for you to go on my promise. And I said, well, God, here I go. Talking to the Lord, says, listen, well, God, I don't want, the perception to be that, they still meeting in a school and the pastor driving the Escalade. God said, what'd I tell you? I told you to go. He said, don't you already know that I already got your place set up for you?
Yes, sir.
Listen to what God told me now.
Yeah.
How you know you're going to drive the Escalade to the school?
Okay. How about that?
I said, okay. I get you, God. I'm with you. I'm with you, Lord. Let this, do it. Let's do it. So I know I got the gear to get to work.
Yes. Yeah.
So I got some things, some meetings in my mind that's already done. So now I got to get them in action. Amen to Jesus. But we got to go. When he's made a promise, I ain't talking about something faulty, some phony preacher lied to you about. I'm talking about something that's authentic from God. When God makes a promise to you, Brother Green,
Amen.
He says, I don't need to hear about what you don't have. I just want you to trust I told you to go.
That's right.
Even if you go the wrong way. He said, just go. At least I see that you're doing something.
Yes. Obedience.
So I'm looking. Y'all know I'm still looking at this building. We got some things lined up. Me and Mr. Black been working on it. It's definitely not just talking. We putting the legwork behind it. We're getting into these places. But I was driving down the road the other day, bro, Concord, and I saw something else. And what I saw looked much better than what I was looking at. I said, well, God, what am I supposed to do? He said, go look at it. Well, I guess I'm supposed to go look at it.
That's right.
Now, what is Pastor trying to tell you, Brashir? He's saying that what I was looking for from you, Pastor Hinton, was were you going to be obedient in October to go look where you thought I was sending?
Yes.
And because you proved to me you were obedient to go,
My God. Process. Yes, sir. Whole process. Yes, sir.
I will show you really where I want you to be. Now, here I go, Mr. Black, with
go.
my financial
Yes,
mind.
sir. Yes, sir.
I said, well, God, now, even though this place, Bro Foster, is much better,
Yes, sir.
it's really, now, we going to go in tomorrow. We're going to go in there and look at it. But it's really like turnkey. You put a key in the door, we can start having church in there tonight. It's like you don't have to do nothing.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We gotta get some seats. Ain't no chairs in there, but it's like ready.
Yeah.
I said, "Man, God," and it's a standalone. It's by itself. It's all brick.
Yay.
I said, "Lord, are you speaking, Jesus?" He said, "Go look in there." I said, "Well, all right." So I called Black. I said, "Black, we got to go look, cause I don't know. Now we still doing what we need to do on this other building, cause that may be the ultimate move. I don't know, but I know he told me to look in this other one, so I'ma look. And we gonna look, and we gonna offer according to what we can handle, and let God do the rest. But what they asking for, we not really at a place today. that we can just sign off. Right. Want me to say that, Lord? Okay. Well, if we get to be in 100% tithing church,
there it is, sir.
I believe, I know we can afford it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Y'all don't want me to say that. I know. I was going to stay on the nice stuff. My bad. My fault. I went too deep. My fault. I got a little too carried away. But if we learn
Yes, sir.
how to tithe
Yes, sir.
the way God requires us to tithe, I got to do it. And y'all just repent. Well, I ain't repenting, but I got to do it. And don't look at them funny, but this is a good testimony I got to give you. So I'm going to put the falsers out there. The falsers just, y'all still love me after it's over. This ain't nothing bad. Just love me after it's over. Let me ask. Y'all going to still love me after I say it? You sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Brother Foster and Sister Foster, faithful tithers.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now, I ain't talking about somebody reported back to me and told me. I see it with my own eyes. All right. Faithful tithers. Now, Brother Foster had an issue going on with his ear a couple of Sundays ago.
Wow.
All right. So Brother Foster said, well, Pastor, we're not going to be there today. And some things. I said, well, Lord, the pastor still got to use wisdom there. He know the flow of how things supposed to fall as it relates to our tithes and offering. I know when I'm tithing, I know everybody else. So I said, well, this normally they Sunday, they come through.
That's real, sir.
I said, well, Lord, I wonder how they going to handle this. So they came, they were in and out, so I ain't see them come to the offering plate. So I said, okay, Lord gonna bless them. Anyway, I found out, Brother Shale, that next week they came and paid the tithe that they were supposed to bring the prior week. So I said, well, Lord, this is your pastor talking about y'all. I said, Lord, I really want you to bless them because, check this out, they ain't take their tithes on vacation.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
All right. So I said, well, let me see if they get back on track with the week that they normally come in.
Yeah.
And you know what?
What?
They came right back on track the next week. Didn't miss a beat. What Pastor trying to tell you? I said, they messed around and then learned that the tithe belongs to God. Check this out. Even when I'm not in the house.
That ain't mine.
That's heavy.
The man of God said it ain't mine.
That's right.
So I don't get, because I'm on vacation this week, that I get a skip from my tithe because, well, Lord, I want them. No, the man of God said it don't belong to me.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And if we all get that revelation,
Yes.
my God from Zion, that's all I'm going to say. All right, so.
Pastor, he was a little warm because I ain't paid online.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, but you came through. If you ain't know, and she forgot to tell you, your pastor let you know, she came through. By God from Zion, she came through. And I said, you know what? God gonna bless them because they realize that just because I'm out, don't mean my time's out.
That's right. That's right.
And there's others that tithe. I just have to use them because that was the closest example that I